What's going on, guys? Doing arms today. So this is a thing I like to do beforehand. So yeah, you've probably heard of scraping before. This is a really cool tool I got from this company, Ached Away. So they have a bunch of other stuff. This is their mini scraper. They have a bigger muscle scraper. This one I really like. Well, I mean, I live here at my gym, but because you can just throw it in like your gym bag if you're going to a public gym. And so what this does is we scrape over the muscle tissue like this, and it helps loosen up and break up that fascia, which is it's basically like a membrane over the muscle. And it can kind of inhibit that growth if it gets really, really tight. That's one thing genetically, that some people have thicker fascia, some people have thinner fascia. And those people that have the thinner fascia have a ability to grow a little bit better sometimes because it's not as restrictive. So breaking this up like this is fucking awesome, because I do this for every muscle before every workout. And so when you're getting your pump and the muscle starts to feel really, really tight like that, I don't want to say it doesn't happen, because you do get to that point. But the first time I did this, I was like, dude, I don't feel like I'm getting a pump. I was training chest that particular day. I was like, I don't feel like I'm getting a pump. And I felt my chest, it was just fucking crazy. So doing this before your workout really allows you to get a bigger and better pump than you typically would. So the other thing you do is, like, as I'm kind of scraping over here, you'll find like little tender spots where there's like a knot. So right here, I'm going to kind of push in a little bit and just kind of move that back and forth. So just like, if you were to try to work out a knot with your thumb like that, using the tool just makes it work a little bit better. And so the thing that's really cool about this particular tool, as opposed to like a normal scraper, is one, I don't know if you can see, so it's heated, right? So this is Celsius. It goes 40 degrees, 45, and 50 degrees Celsius. But anyhow, there's also like a little vibration to it as well. So when you're kind of digging into that muscle like that, you're not only going to get the heat to kind of loosen that up, draw some blood in there, which is also going to help with your pump, but getting that little kind of vibration puts those waves through. This kind of helps break up that knot and those fibers as well, and then be able to get in there and dig with this is just a little bit better than like what you could do with your thumb. So this thing's really cool, guys. They have, like I said, the bigger scraper. They got electric cups, like, cupping. You get the circles. I guess mine are gone now. I had it on my leg the other day. But yeah, man, this company is like changing the game as far as like recovery and everything like that. All right, so first exercise, well, we're gonna do incline curls, but I'm also gonna do overhead extensions. Let's see, do right about there. So I'm going to use the Voltra. So this thing is really, really cool, guys. This is an electric resistance machine. So it works by, this is a direct drive motor in here that causes the resistance. So it's basically gonna rotate back against you. There's all these different modes you can put it on. We're gonna do weight training. We'll start and you just dial it up. We'll probably do 45 for a warm up. So I'm gonna go underneath this time. And this little thing is the Infinity Arm from a company called Exponent Edge. So this has a number of different places you can adjust it to. We're gonna go here for curls first. So I like to use this most of the time for my incline curls because I really like it. It's super comfortable. The way I set it is it goes right into my low back. So I got a lot better support in the low back, and then with it not being as high, I can lean. I got more freedom with my arms. You don't have to do that. You can just use a normal incline bench like this one over here. But I like this, and it's great. So if you got your own gym, it's definitely worth it. I use this for every single workout for at least something. Anyhow, let's get dumbbells. So you're gonna warm up light. So on my warm up, particularly with the curls, the big thing I'm really focusing on is trying to nail down that tempo, right? So I want to, as I come down, sit this down so I can point out what I'm doing. As you come down, you want to get a good full release in that bicep. You want to feel that stretch. You don't want to just come down and still feel it tight. Feel that release, but make sure your wrist stays tight and you don't relax here. and then I'm gonna fire back up. I'm gonna let my elbow come forward a little bit so I can get to that full squeeze at the top, not just down here because that keeps it bound up. But you really gotta kind of find that right tempo for you that's going to keep good tension on the muscle the whole time and that you're not swinging. So when you watch me do this, maybe not so much with these 15s for the warm up, but you'll see almost like it looks like I'm swinging a little bit, but that's very, very controlled and just getting the right contraction of the muscle. So this first set, because it's light, I'm just kind of finding my groove, so to speak. So good release at the bottom, fire right back up. All right, we're just gonna move this up a notch. So I pull this pin out, move this up, one, where is it? There it is. I'm gonna tilt this so it's more straight. So what I really like about using these two things together, particularly for this, so I always like to start with stretch position exercises to stretch out those muscle fibers, activate more muscle fibers for the rest of the workout. So that's why we're doing that lean back with that incline curl to really get that extra stretch to activate the bicep. And then I like to start with some sort of overhead movement for the triceps to again get that deep stretch. So you can do this just on a normal cable. Over here, set the rope down low, pull it up, do overhead extensions. But being able to couple this infinity arm with the Vultra over here, what I can do is get that back support so I can really isolate those triceps and support that upper back so I'm not arching my back. Putting that pad high allows my arms to go a lot lower without pulling me back. So I'm gonna get a lot better, deeper stretch. Now, important thing with this is as I come up like this, and you see my hands kind of twist out like that, I'm not thinking about twisting. I'm just moving my hands naturally. I'm just thinking knuckles straight up towards the ceiling, and I just let my arm move the way that would normally move. So now we're gonna drop this back down one, put the incline back, and now we're gonna do hammer curls, incline hammer curls, but we're gonna use actual hammers. These are just literally 10-pound sledgehammers. Let me show you, because this is something you guys should all do. This is like my regular sledgehammer for, hitting tires, whatever. This one is I don't know, I'd guess it's probably like an 8-pound, maybe a 6. So literally this is just a 10-pound sledgehammer. I just chopped off the end of it to make it like a small hammer. So I have, these ones are 15, they were designed this way, they just didn't have a 10 or a 20. I got another 20-pound sledgehammer, where again, I just cut the rest of the handle off. And then we got 25s. So these are a bitch to curl, they're heavy. But anyhow, it's just like Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. So one, it's just really fucking cool to curl hammers. It's cool to do, it's fun, but the way that your arm has to move with that weight all the way out here to come up, it just blasts that forearm through here, that lower bicep brachialis a lot. And doing these hammer curls with actual hammers regularly has really transformed my arms. It's made my arms just look so much, not even just bigger, but just better, all connected and everything. So I'll still do hammer curls with dumbbells like normal sometimes, but I 1,000% prefer using the hammer. So as I come down, I let that wrist relax, kind of point towards the floor, and I'm pulling back towards my shoulder as I come up. Squeeze that grip real tight to hold on to these, because it's considerably harder. You're definitely not gonna be as strong with these when you start, but it will transform your arms. Over here and do press downs with the strap. So arms, I train with a lot more volume. Okay, so like chest and back, legs, big strong muscles like that that are gonna move a lot of weight. We're gonna do more compound exercises. That's gonna be a lot more intense. It's gonna put a lot more stress on the nervous system, on the muscles, all of that. So those I train more intensity, lower volume. Shoulders is kind of in between because it's a little bit smaller muscle. But biceps, just the way, the nature in which they move is a lot more isolated. They're a lot smaller muscles. So you don't want to train them as intensely. And I say that in quotes because when I mean that, I don't mean don't train the arms hard, but I mean, you're not going to be putting nearly as much weight into it. You're not going to be putting as much leverage on the joint. That's why people tear their bicep a lot. Like if you get to a point where you're tearing a muscle, that's so far too far because you're literally tearing the muscle off the bone. So we don't want to risk that. So arms respond a lot better to a little bit higher rep, not as heavy weight, and more volume. When I do my arms, I'm not doing just isolation exercises, but doing that higher volume, lighter weight is safer and better on the arms then. But then they're still gonna get that heavy, intense work like my biceps when I'm training back. When I'm doing rows, heavy rows or pull downs or something like that, you're still getting a lot of heavy work on the biceps. Same thing with the tricep when you're pressing, whether it be chest or shoulders. When you're pressing, that's where you're putting the heavy weight on. So your arms are still getting worked when you're training those other muscles with the heavy weight, which then allows you to go with a little bit lighter, more control stuff to get that better shape and squeeze on, your actual arm day. All right. Usually I'm moving a little bit quicker when I'm not talking to you guys the whole time. So we're going a little bit on the slow end today, but that's okay. So this is the other thing I really like about this infinity arm. You can do this just sitting down with a bench or something else, but this, I can put it up just the height that I want it at, put my arm over here. I like to just kind of brace like this, tight grip, and we're doing wrist curls. So like I said, you can do this just on a normal bench, but being able to elevate this pad and put it flat to where you can just stick your arm straight out like that, it's a lot more comfortable, and I feel like you can get better leverage with it. So you really want to let that wrist relax, feel that stretch, because this stuff gets really, really tight because we don't ever stretch like this. We're always gripping. So a good stretch, roll back. Then I come over to the other side, just so I can brace. And these you don't have to do crazy heavy. This is still a warm up. I'm using 10 pounds. Next set I'll do 15, but that's about it. You don't want to, this isn't doing wrist curls is not like a heavy exercise. It's mostly meant to stretch like this and then contract through. So most of the time we're working our forearms, it's grip, it's squeezing. So that's going to be the best thing for developing, strength and size in the forearm is just gripping everything. But throwing these wrist curls in just gives you that definition in the arm, gives you a pump. It's going to make you more vascular. It's obviously going to help the muscle grow as well. So a big thing on this too, let me tell you a couple things. So lean back, don't arch like this, all right? Don't pull your arms back like this because it puts you in a really weird position. It opens up the core, it compresses the back. We don't want that. So abs tight, kind of sit back into it, let the arms hang down so you get that full stretch. When you pull back like this, arching the back, it puts where so the bicep runs up through the shoulder and it connects to the actual shoulder blade back there. So when I arch my back and push my chest up like this, it's putting that bicep in a really weird, twisted position that's not good. So really tighten the core, bring that chest down, let the arms hang here and come up and through. You're gonna get a lot better squeeze and you're gonna avoid shoulder injuries. Okay. The other thing that's cool about this thing is you can set it. I mean, I have it 65 right now. We can do 64, 63, so you can adjust it by 1 pound increments from 0 to 200 pounds. So this thing is cool. All right. Okay, do hammer curls again. Oh, that's it. Man. So this one, right now I'm gripping with my palm down, pressing this way. You can grip this way, or what we'll even do sometimes is kind of put the wrist through, keep the hands like this, keep them straight as opposed to pressing. One's not right or wrong or better than the other, it's just hitting the muscle slightly different angles. So sometimes I'll do it one way, sometimes I'll do it another way. So that's a big thing. Like I use a lot of variations. If you follow me for any period of time, you'll see that I do a lot of different exercises. And like I do have my favorites or my preferences. There are some that I just don't do because I just don't think they're worth the time. So I don't mention those ones. But as far as like any different stuff I do, a lot of it's not, one's not better than the other. It's just different. So it's like triceps, for example. We're doing triceps, we're doing press downs, right? Like we're gonna do a whole variety of exercises. It's all press down, you know, there's all different variations of press downs, but just changing that grip, using a strap versus a rope versus a bar. It's all still the same movement. It's all still basically the same exercise. You're just modifying the grip a little bit and it's gonna work that muscle slightly differently. So it's, use different things is my point. So this is the one I'll show you. As I come up, what I'm trying to do is I'm letting that forearm come back against my bicep so I can feel that stretch back here. What a lot of people do is they keep too much tension, and so as they come up, their arm just starts moving forward, but look at this, right? There's no movement here, it's all in the shoulder. So you come up like this and get mostly lat and shoulder to pull down and then press. So we want that elbow to kind of drift back and to press the forearm into that bicep so you can push back down. Oh, fucking me. Those are so hard. Got to do my other wrist curls the last time. So I'm gonna do a set, and I'm gonna do these ones, and then I'll do do another one here to catch up. The same thing, I wanna let that wrist dip low, just feel that stretch, and we're just rolling up. And that wrist is gonna twist a little bit. So really we're hitting right about there. Didn't used to do a whole lot of forearm training, or specific forearm training. I kind of added it in a little bit more recently, and it's been cool. I've been liking it. It's been making a big difference. The forearms are one of those muscles that you see all the time, whether you're wearing a t-shirt, whatever. The forearms are always showing, so I like having big forearms, a stronger grip. It helps kind of complete the arm. All right, take a little rest, and then we'll do one more set of these, and we'll move on. So this is kind of like I said, warming up. I mean, it's not a warm up, this is definitely working sets, but with the incline curls and the overhead extensions, all that, right, we're putting the muscle in a stretch position. So the whole idea is we're activating more muscle fibers by putting in that stretch position. Then our next round of exercise, our next giant set, will be, I'm gonna do barbell curls today. I'm gonna do like using a Swiss bar. I'll show you if you guys have access to a Swiss bar. That's great. If you don't, you can do like reverse curls. But I like that because I can get here. Then we'll do for triceps, we'll probably do press downs with the bar. We'll do like a skull crusher. So the way I do my skull crushers is somewhere between like a skull crusher and a close grip bench press. So you'll see in a minute when we get to that. Then, yeah, we'll do those two. So we'll do skull crushers and we'll do press down. All right. Let's do this last set. Almost forgot the wrist curls again. Okay, so arm over, stretch. So when you're doing these, you want to keep that grip the whole time, tight the whole time. You're doing this here into the hand where you roll down and open. You can do that, but in my opinion, trying to really get into that forearm deep, it's better if you just keep the grip tight and use that isolation here rather than trying to combine the two together. It just is harder in practice and isn't as beneficial in my opinion. The other reason why I think it's good to do wrist curls like this is, like I was saying, most everything else that works our grip is all, gripping, squeezing, so it's all isometric, so to speak. So that's where those forearms can get really tight and cause like issues for the elbow, the shoulder, thing like that. So doing something like this to kind of take that muscle through a range of motion to relax and contract, do some reps like that. It just, again, works it differently, keeps it a little bit more mobile. All good things. Oh, shit. All right. Oh, that's it. Those are tough. All right. One more set of wrist curls. That's not entirely true. I'm going to do another set of these with my next round of exercise, and I'll kind of explain that when we get to it. This is we've done 2 working sets. We did a warm-up set, and then we did 2 working sets. So same thing, we're going to move on to next exercises. So with the forearms though, I'm going to do these, and then the other exercise, I'm only going to do 2 different things for the forearms. And then so the other thing I'm going to use the clubs. I'm going to do rotations like this, right? So I used to do this one here, kind of like this, but I didn't feel like I was getting a whole lot out of it. And that same movement gets hit pretty good when I'm curling those hammers. So I felt like that's more beneficial. And then trying to just do this isolated movement for the forearm, I felt was like a little bit redundant and not as beneficial. So I'm doing 6 total working sets for each muscle. These wrist curls, I'm gonna do 3 sets each instead of 2. And then the rotation, I'm also gonna do 3 sets instead of 2, where everything else I'm doing 2 sets. And I'm trying to keep my brain working at the same time. All right, do the easy bar curls. This is one where I do have a tendency a lot of times to go heavier than I should, because the easy bar, granted it is a compound movement, Well, technically it's not, but it's usually considered like a compound movement. A compound movement is where you're using more than one joint, and you're not really doing that with the barbell curl. But at the same time, you kind of are in a sense, right? So like we were talking about before, the bicep attaches down here to the forearm. It comes up, it goes through the shoulder, and attaches onto that shoulder blade. So it is technically crossing two joints, but it's not quite the same as like the chest, where we're talking about pressing here where it's in the shoulder, but we're also moving that elbow. So we're doing a lot more involvement with that: squats, knees, hips, ankles, right? So here, it's not exactly a compound exercise, but at the same time it kind of is, because of how that shoulder moves. So you'll be able to see better when I'm doing this, but I want to kind of explain it beforehand so I can kind of point some things out. So I'm going to come down, chest is going to be up, not arched up. Arms going to hang down low. I'm going to curl up, and as I come up, right, I could stop here. If I was to just curl and stop here, that's going to hit the short head on the inside. But when I get that extra squeeze like this, if you do it right, where you're pulling in as that elbow's coming up, you're going to feel it hit the outside long head of that bicep a lot more. What you don't want to do is just swing it all the way up to the top. So that's where it can look like you're cheating. It can look like you're doing it wrong. And you can be if you're just swinging the whole time. But if you're really focusing on that stretch low, keeping that chest up, not arched, and then get that squeeze in towards yourself as those elbows come up, but do it in a controlled manner, you're gonna hit the bicep a lot more. That's the important thing I was talking about. Let the shoulders kind of drop down, and that's gonna get that full stretch. We don't wanna be up here where the traps are engaged, keeping those shoulders tight. Arms nice and low, pulling back in towards yourself. I think I might even go a little bit lighter on the next one. That one was good, like it felt good, but I was having to really kind of fight against myself to get that full release and stretch at the bottom. So that's the thing. Like, I'm not anywhere near tearing a muscle, right? I'm not gonna take myself that far. But the way I was feeling on that one, to kind of give you an idea what I was talking about, is on that set, as I was coming down, I was really having to like work against myself to allow that to fully release at the bottom, because it was heavy enough for my nervous system to protect that muscle. Is like, bro, we need to stay tight. You know what I'm saying? So I was doing it okay, but I want to feel a little bit more of an easy release at the bottom so I can really focus more on that squeeze. I don't want to feel like I'm fighting against myself the whole time. So I could definitely do another set with that same weight. I could definitely curl a bit more. Like I could lift more, but it's not going to be the same effect on the muscle. So that's what it's about. It's not about just lifting as much as you can. It's about working the muscle in the best possible way. So now we're gonna do the skull crushers here. So skull crushers, I like to do them just on the flat bench because it makes it nice and easy to get that bar off. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring that bar basically towards like the bridge of my nose, anywhere between my nose and my forehead, anywhere in here is fine. So what you'll see as I come down, right, my elbow drifts forward like that, and that's where I'm gonna feel that stretch. So that's where, for you, kind of play anywhere in this zone to find where you feel the best stretch. So for me, if I come up here more towards the forehead, I lose that tension and that stretch on the tricep. If I bring my hand to right about there, so for me, like the tip of the nose, now I feel a whole lot more stretch. So that skull crusher is gonna be more like this. Like I was saying, you're tucking the elbows as you come down, you're kind of flaring as you come up, but you're keeping it here over the skull, so to speak. So that's why it's called a skull crusher. Now, the alternative, or a different thing that people like, or get these two confused, is a tricep extension. So a tricep extension, you're coming behind the head and you're extending up like this, keeping an angle on that arm to keep tension on that tricep. So it's just a totally different exercise. Well, again, one's not better than the other. I personally I prefer these, but not. It's just because I like the way they feel. I like doing them better, but that's like a personal preference. I don't prefer it because it works better than an extension. So last time I did arms, I did extensions. So today we're doing the skull crusher. So same thing, I mix it together on the programs on my app. That's why I have it scheduled out like that. So you're getting the right variety. It's all prescribed. You're not having to guess the whole time. So let's get into this set. So the same thing grip wise. We want to have a kind of close grip. Try a few different grips for yourself, a little bit closer, a little bit wider, and just feel where you get the best stretch. For me, I like to get my little fingers right on this line on my bar. The markings on your bar is going to be different depending on what kind of bar you have, so don't get too caught there. Big thing is you want to make sure that bar sits across the bottom part of the hand. You see what I'm saying? Right across the meat like this. We don't want to be up here where it's sitting on the up by the fingers. We want to be like this. All right. Barbell hammer curl. So I'm going to use this inside grip. So this one, like this outside, this is a little bit too wide, but you can see that bar straight up and down, which is going to be like a hammer curl with a dumbbell. This inside one, I really like that angle because it's a lot more natural and it just really hits really, really well. So if you have access to a Swiss bar like this, that's awesome. If you have your own home gym, you buy one. It's definitely worth it. Curls, presses, all kinds of different stuff. If you don't, you can do you can just do reverse curls with the easy bar, or you can do dumbbell hammer curls. There is also this. This is a tricep bar you've probably seen before. It's great. I don't use it really much anymore because the way my arms, my lats push into my triceps, it forces me forward. And you see how tight that is? Like my arms run into the plates. So this bar is just a little bit small for me to be able to use, which is why this Swiss bar has come in super handy for that. All right, so I want to let the arms hang down, get that full release at the bottom. Oh, moly. Catch my breath real quick. That's the thing too, is with the volume that I do for arms, like I was saying, I do more exercises because I also have to catch my breath a lot less. Like with chest and back, it's a lot more physically demanding. Something like legs, a lot more physically demanding. So there can be a little bit longer rest periods. That's why I like even on the app, most of them, depending on the program, rest periods are different. On my strength program, they're a little bit longer. But the other ones, I have it 1 to 3 minutes. So anywhere in that range, right? Or I think it's 1.5 to 3 minutes. And that's because it's going to be a little bit different from the individual. It's a really good idea to take your full rest period to where you're recovered. You caught your breath, your heart rate comes back down. There's a thing for a long time, those short rest periods, especially when you're cutting, keep your rest period to 1 minute. So it keeps your heart rate up. And so that sounds good, but in practice, it doesn't work out as well. It is going to keep your heart rate up and you are going to burn calories because you're keeping your heart rate up. But because you're doing that, you sacrifice performance, which costs you more calorie burn in the long run, right? So that's the thing you gotta understand is cutting, burning fat, all of that is not, or even building muscle, not all of it, right? All of it is not done in the gym. The gym sets up how your body does those things throughout the rest of the day. So that's where the muscle building aspect of it and the recovering, being able to perform at the highest level, stimulates your body to do so, to build more muscle and burn more fat outside of the gym, that the more you put into that, keep your rest periods to where you're recovered. In the big picture, you're gonna get a lot more out of all of it. Okay, so this is another one where a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot again. What they'll do, well, let me go light so I can show you something real quick. So what a lot of people do is want to keep those elbows locked in tight to the side and just go straight like this and keep it super isolated. And that's okay, you're gonna hit the triceps really well that way. But what's better is to let them flare at the bottom. So as I come up, I'm gonna tuck into my ribs. As I press down, I'm gonna find that spot where they want to flare naturally, because that's how they're supposed to move. And I'm gonna allow that flare to come over like this. Now I'm not gonna stack my body over it, because now I'm just leaning on the weight, right? I'm not having to do anything. When I'm here, I'm locked out, but there's still tension on those triceps, right? So you always wanna remember, your body, your muscles are meant to work together. They're not meant to work one at a time. So I used to preach that for a very long time of isolation, isolation, isolation. You want to keep your chest out of it. You want to keep your shoulders out of it, all that shit, right? And that's not correct, because your body works together. And the more you allow it to work together the way it's supposed to move, the more you're going to develop a much more fluid physique, because you're using the body the way it's supposed to work. Son of a bitch. All right, another rest. Do another one of these. We'll finish up with our last round. We'll do preacher curls. We're gonna do a different variation of press down. We'll do hammer preacher curls. And then we'll do reverse grip press down. And then the rotation for the forearms. Oh, fuck. The thing is, you want to remember that the weights are just tools, right? It's not, I say this all the time, it's not X amount of weight times X amount of reps equals Y amount of pounds of muscle growth, whatever, all right? So it's not just the more you lift, the bigger you get. It's technique, it's precision, it's using a tool, right? So you really want to focus on using the weights to hit the muscle the best way possible. So like I said, that first, this is what, 75 pounds? Yeah, so 75 pounds, it's nothing crazy for curls. I had a couple fives on there the first set, so it was 85. And then, like I said, the 85 felt good, it felt okay. I wasn't doing anything wrong, my form was good. So all good things, but I just wasn't feeling the connection, the stretch, and the squeeze as much as I wanted to. So I dropped 10 pounds, I went from 85 down to 75. And that second set hit the biceps way better. So if I was to drop another 10 pounds down to 65, then it's probably not gonna be enough to really stimulate that. So that's where when you start getting to the point where you're really trying to be the best that you can be and take things to that next level, going to the next level is not about, or it's not always about just doing more, training harder. It's about being smarter. It's about getting more precision. It's about not doing too little or too much, but find that just that spot in the middle is gonna work the best. All right, one more of these. She doesn't move for anything. Hi there, Doms. That's my girl. You want me to come see you? Oh, that's it. All right. So this we're gonna do for the forearm. This is a 10-pound club. So I put my arm over the top, got that twist all the way over, rotate, good stretch. We're going back and forth. So we're training that rotational strength of that forearm, building that muscle all the way around. I really let that weight pull so you get that release and stretch. Try to combine those two words. As I said, it's only 10 pounds. It's a lot harder than it looks. I have a 15-pound club. I can do a few with those, but they're not really that pretty and they're a little bit too tough. So we're not quite there yet for working sets. I put it in there every once in a while just to kind of slowly try to build my strength up to that. But again, it's more about range of motion, properly moving, really allowing the muscle to move, okay? That's the biggest thing that I try to stretch is you don't want to think about working the muscle, right? That's what we're doing. Yes, we are working the muscle. But if you think about it in terms of moving the muscle, it works a lot better. If you watch any of the guys from like the golden era, even like the 90s, early 2000s, the way that they train is not this crazy throwing shit around. It almost looks easy because they're taking their muscles through that range of motion. One of the best ways I've ever heard it put, I don't remember who said it, but I've kind of latched on and said that for years now, is we're not doing reps. We're doing one rep at a time perfectly. So that's what I want you to think about. Everything you do, every single exercise, whether it be 10 reps, 15 reps, whatever the case may be, each rep one at a time. Put your focus into that. Think of yourself as an artist. Think of yourself as a sculptor, and it's precision. It's not just wailing away in your body, hitting it as hard as possible, throwing shit around, moving as, you know what I'm saying? Strategic, perfect execution. Set up for preacher curls. I'm gonna use the infinity arm again. So I really like this a lot for preacher curls. Let me see, I think that's a little bit more of an angle. So, a couple things. Let's come around to the side. Let me show you. So, a couple ways to do this. You can be straight up and down, whether you're using the infinity arm or normal preacher bench. You can be straight up and down, which a lot of people think is better because that tension's straight down. But when you really get that full squeeze pulled back like this, now that weight's sitting more over that forearm, so you're not getting as much tension at the top as you'd think. So that's why I prefer a little bit of an angle, right? So when I get in there, right, when I get that full squeeze here, now I still have more of an angle. Actually, yeah, that's good. And so you're gonna get a lot more squeeze on it that way. So do preacher curls here. We're gonna do another press down. So this is really like a pull down attachment or a row attachment. Normally you'd be here pulling down or doing rows like this. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna flip it around this way. And that's gonna let me get a little bit different push. It's really gonna activate that lateral head on the outside. Definitely lighten it up though. So we'll do that. Preacher curls, press downs. We'll do preacher hammer curls. Then we're gonna do reverse press down over here. So this is another one, very controlled, full release at the bottom, but don't overextend your elbow, right? So think like you're trying to reach out forward. And so I get a little bit of a rotation in there, but I'm letting it be natural. I'm not trying to force the twist or anything like that. That was even a little bit heavy, I think. Kind of same thing with the barbell curls earlier. Like, that was good. It felt good. It was still good form. I got a good contraction, a good squeeze, but I think it could be better if I went just a little bit lighter. So I'm still gonna do this one for the other arm, keep it even. And then the next set, we'll probably do 20s instead of 25s. That's good for that one. So that's an important thing we're talking about weight. Hi. Is, like I said, those 25s were good, but it could be better, you know? So that's the thing, is like, I could, you know, keep the ego involved and still do 25s and make a good set. Yes, Dons. But you could leave the gym. If you go, so put it this way, you could go lighter, or you could not go lighter. You could not go lighter, keep the weight the same, do another set like that, because if you went lighter, you would feel like you didn't get as much out of it and you sacrificed the workout because you didn't go as heavy. That's a very normal thing to feel. What I want you to think about is, if you're not hitting the muscle the best you could do, then you're actually not getting the most out of it you could. So my point is, I could do another set with that 25 and it would be fine, but I would leave here and I would know that, like, I could have felt it more. I could have hit my bicep more if I went lighter. So even though I did the weight, I didn't get what I could out of it. So I don't want to do that. So it's a little bit of just maturing in the gym, is knowing when to, I don't even want to say take a step back, because it's not actually a step back. It feels like a step back, so that's why I'm saying it that way. But it's really not. It's a step forward. So it's just about maturing, knowing what you can do. Some days are better, some days are worse. Like today, for whatever reason, I'm not as strong. I feel fine, like I feel good, I feel rested. I feel like my body feels strong, but I'm just not hitting that weight like I have other times. So today we take a little step back, but my body still progresses forward because I'm doing what my body needs. I'm not being dictated by just a fucking number. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do these press downs. So this one with this close grip, it's almost gonna be more important to get that flare here, which is really gonna drive that outside part of the tricep. So I'm gonna get my hand way over the top. You can see where it's pushing down in the low part of my palm. And I'm gonna get that kind of like under my chest almost. So think of this almost like a diamond push-up. I could put my hands like in that diamond position. I'm not gonna do that because I want to hold on, you know, controlled. But that's basically that movement. Is like a diamond push-up. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier for the next one. This one on the hammer preacher curls, this is really gonna get low into that lower part of the bicep brachioradialis, and hit that forearm a lot as well. So I'm letting that hammer hang down, pulling towards my shoulder. Tell you guys, these hammers are a bitch. They work great, they're fun. It's one of my favorite things. These ones that are made this way, it's from a company called Tribal Wad, WOD. I work out of the day. They have other cool stuff too. Like I said, they got the 15-pound hammers, 25, 35, 55, and I have a 70-pound hammer, which I don't know who's doing that besides Thor. But even those 25s are a bitch. But like I said, if you don't get those, like I got the other hammers from Ace Hardware. It's just down the street from where I live. Home Depot probably has them, whatever, any kind of hardware store. Amazon, you know, order them on Amazon. But yeah, if you're wanting a really fun and beneficial addition to your gym, pick up some of these hammers. So this reverse grip press down, it's gonna hit this medial head that kind of comes underneath. That gets ignored a lot. We get the lateral head on the outside a lot. We get the long head on the back, but that medial head gets ignored a lot. So I always like to throw some sort of reverse grip in there, whether it be this, you can do with anything really. The easy bar overhead extensions. You could do reverse grip skull crushers, single arm press downs. There's a number of different things you can do. So variations, variations, variations. That's another thing to talk about too, is hitting a couple partials. At the end, partial reps are good. The real thing I want to talk about was when people talk about getting a squeeze at the end, whether it be, you know, tricep squeeze or bicep squeeze, chest, doing that squeeze at the end does dick for you. It doesn't do shit, right? It feels hard because you're having to hold that weight and it's an isometric contraction, but you're not benefiting anymore. Like nothing else, there's nothing more, there's no more stimulation that's happening by squeezing and holding. You're just making it harder. So you're expending energy, you're fatiguing the muscle, but not in a way that's gonna grow muscle. So if you wanna use a pause, put the pause at the bottom, right? So if you hold that muscle in a stretch position, that's gonna activate more muscle. So that's the thing, is do it at the bottom of the exercise, not the top, and you're gonna have a benefit. And it's not gonna be as stressful on the nervous system. So that's the thing. You hold the squeeze at the top, it's more stressful on the nervous system and you're not benefiting, versus you hold the stretch at the bottom, you're not stretching the nervous system as much and you are benefiting. So like, that's one of those where it's not a matter of opinion. Like isometrics are good for other things, but if you're really trying to grow the muscle, doing this type of training, don't do the squeeze at the end. It's just not worth the time or the effort. A little rest, we'll do one more set. As we get to do in between sets is pet the wolves. This is Domino, she's a daddy's girl. She's by my side all the time. So that's another thing. I mean, I talk a lot about, you know, don't go too heavy, you know, work the muscle properly, train safe and all that stuff. But so the train safe part, like I'm cutting right now. So I'm cutting down, I'm refilming everything for my app, all new videos, all new issues. So that's gonna be really cool. We're gonna have way more exercises. Everything is gonna be updated. It's gonna be super, super cool. So look forward to that. But anyhow, I'm cutting down to be leaner, to do all that. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of new training content, stuff like that. So while I'm cutting, while I'm lower energy, because I'm not eating as many calories, I'm tired from cutting and training hard. Like that's not a time to really push the muscle for progress, okay? Now, for me, I've been lucky in one sense that I have like the endomorph body type. So my body is very prone to building muscle. It's also very prone to putting on fat too. So where that can make it harder cutting, because my body wants to hold on to that fat sometimes, it's easier to build muscle. So I can definitely build muscle while I'm still cutting, not as significantly, not as well, but I can do that. Some people, you can't. It's just your body type. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, when you're cutting, that's not if you make progress, great, but that's not a time to really be making progress in your gaining because you're trying to cut. So you're in a place where you're not in an optimal place to be building anyway. So it's not worth the risk to push it too hard to where you're going to get hurt, because you are going to be more prone to injury when you're cutting as well. So that's the thing, is you want to play a little bit extra safe, know what you're doing, get cut, get lean, and then when you go back into the next building phase, then you can push a little bit more. So just know when to push it and when not to, and stay safe. That's going to allow you to train a lot longer. If you get hurt and then you have to take a couple weeks to a couple months off or significantly dialed back, you're missing out on so much more progress than you would have had by trying to push it to the point you got injured. That feels way better. So that's tricky because whoa, trip over those plates. So that's tricky because the first 5 reps almost felt too easy. But I kind of know that feel, so I kind of know that's where I wanted to be. In the past, I've not done that where it's felt too easy. I need to go up, this is too light. And then that's where I get caught in that in between. The 25s were too much. Like I said, they were doable. Form was good, but I just didn't quite feel the way I wanted it to. That felt light at the beginning, which had me kind of, maybe I should have gone back up to those 25s. No, stick it out. And then sure as shit, towards the end, much better squeeze, much better fatigue, much deeper into the muscle. So that's what we're trying to do, guys. It's always about working that muscle as well and completely as possible, not just trying to beat the shit out of it. Oh, that's it. Wow. All right. That's my Kovu boy. He's the baby of the family. He's only 3, even though he's huge. He's a handsome boy. One more set of hammer curls. Oh man. Those are getting tough towards the end. I'm tired. Definitely feeling that. Oh, fuck. All right. All right. That was good. That's it for arms today. We got, this one's more not heavy movements, but solid movements, not as much light isolation stuff. We're still training hard. I don't know, I'm burned out. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better idea of how I kind of do the difference between, bigger muscles like the chest and back legs versus smaller muscles like the biceps, triceps, where we're gonna hit a little bit more volume, not as much heavy stuff, but more really focusing on the squeezing, right? So that's what I was saying earlier during the workout is biceps, triceps are getting hit pretty hard and heavy with presses and pulling movements. So that's why when we go to hit them kind of on their own, it's better to really focus on the squeezing and the stretching, the movement of the muscle. You get a lot more out of it that way. Those are also muscles that are relatively easy to overtrain if you're just beating the shit out of them. Putting that kind of heavy strain on that elbow joint is something that just leads to overuse injury over time as people get tennis elbow, all kinds of shit like that. So a lot of times that comes from just hitting the arms too fucking heavy. And a lot of times people have a hard time mentally dialing it back because you just got to think heavy, heavy, heavy all the time. So trying to go lighter on something like that at first, but especially if you're used to going heavy, it feels light. It's going to feel kind of easy. So your brain wants to tell you there's no way this is going to work. But if you just trust the process for a little bit, stick with it, you'll see that the arms will grow tremendously more from that type of training than the heavy beating the shit out of it training. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We'll see you next time for chest and back.